So welcome everybody. Welcome for this session of the 5th of February with our guest Aurio de la Cruz from the PMI LATAM from Peru. So I will start sharing my screen. So if you can confirm you see it. So our subject of today is social project ecosystem, the shared value evaluation to success by Aurio de la Cruz. So organized with our local group Darmstadt. So just as a quick agenda, so I will just present you the golden rules and introduce you our local group Darmstadt and the PMI Germany chapter if you don't know us. And then I will let the floor to Aurio for his very interesting presentation. I think we should think as well on our job more and more about social impact. So it's a way to educate us as a project manager about this important topic. And we will do it a bit differently this time. So Aurio will have a 30 minutes talk, and then I share to you by email, and Aurio share it in the chat. So we will then join a brainstorming platform. So you can request the access via Google or Gmail account. So it's really easy. And we can then have a little case study, but I think Aurio will tell you more about it just after. And then at the end of the session, as usual, I will inform you about the next event and about I will give you the PDU code. Just as the guidelines for today, so please mute your microphone if you are not speaking, but you are welcome to use the chat to raise your question. We said with Aurio that he will answer at the end of the first period to your question. You can turn on your video if you feel like, as this session is recorded. And after the session, you will have the deck and the contact of the speaker if you want to engage with him. And as usual, we prohibit the use of external AI or transcript, but we will put at disposal this video on YouTube. Just some words about the PMI Germany chapter. So the Germany chapter is composed by 5 regions. So we are here in the central region. There is more than 25 local groups which are animating different roundtable and events on site. And there is more than 11,000 members of PMI in Germany. And it's as well a very diverse community with more than 43 nationalities represented. And in terms of volunteer, it's 150 people who are dedicated to propose you content and event that you can follow. Just a few words about our local group Darmstadt. So we are located nearby Frankfurt. If you don't know where is it, so there is a very big airport. So if you land in Germany, you will most likely arrive not so far from here. And we are 5 volunteers from 5 different countries. And we try to organize for you guys, so 2 free online events a month, plus we have 1 roundtable per month as well on site. So please feel free to join, and you can always reach out on our LinkedIn page. So feel free to join us. And we are looking for new volunteer as well. So if you are interested to contribute, you can join us as well. Without more suspense, so I will briefly introduce you our speaker today, Aurio de la Cruz. So he's a volunteer in social impact for the PMI LATAM, so South America. And he's a Peruvian industrial engineer. So and I had the chance to listen and to engage with him during our last PM for the World event. So it is a 24 hours charity event, and Aurio had the opportunity to as well give a presentation for this event. So it was really engaging. And so we thought it was a really good opportunity to offer you to exchange with him today. He has more than 12 years experience in different companies and supporting the implementation of IT system. And he has a multicultural background and working with multicultural teams, and he's eager to contribute to the social impact of PMI in the community. So I'm really glad that he's here today, and I will now let him the floor. So
thank you, Florian. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you to introduce me to this meeting. I'm so happy to be here and nice to meet you to all of you, to all the participants. And yes, we will talk about social project ecosystem and share about the evaluation. I'm gonna share my screen. Please let me know if you can watch my screen.
Yes, you can see.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, as I mentioned, well, I'm gonna talk about the social project ecosystem and share value. As Florian mentioned, I'm from Peru. Yes, an industrial engineer and also a professional specialist in project management, supply chain, technology, and social impact. In the last years, I'm part of the PMI Latin America as the volunteer social impact lead from PMI Latam. I'm in charge of the 30 chapters there since from Argentina, Chile to Mexico, to all these chapters to make some social impact activities with all our alliance that we have there. And I believe the importance of the social project in the society, because the project is the way in which we can make something, we can change something in a current status to a desired status. And the project management is the way in which we can transform these situations in a new situation in which we can make something an impact. And for that reason, I'm involved in this social project because I like it and I believe it's very important for us. Okay, and to start, I want to talk to you a little from my country. As you know, Peru is very known by the food. It's very delicious. We have many dishes there. I'm really sure most of you heard about the ceviche. Ceviche is very known in many parts of the world. But we have more dishes. We have the anticucho. It's made by some pieces of the heart of the cow, and we have made that dish with that part of the cow. Also, we have the taku taku. It's a mix from beans and also rice, and we have also rice with that. Huancaina potato. It has a spicy sauce there, and we did that that way. Also, from the south of Peru, we have the Arequipian food. We have that is very delicious. Also, you visit the south of Peru, it's very a beautiful city, and also you can eat delicious food. For example, here is the filled rocoto. It's like a chile, very spicy, but it's very delicious also. And cabrito seco de cabrito, we call it. It's like a goat with beans and also rice, as you can see. And finally, most of you know the ceviche, but in Peru we eat more the chaufa rice. That is a mix from Chinese food and Peruvian food. And the chaufa rice is very known dish in Peru. And if you visit Peru, you can see a chowfa rice restaurant in each square in the city. It's very, very noted and also very delicious. If you can prove that, if you visit Peru, it's so great that. Well, as I mentioned, why have I started with this talk about the food? Because I want to start with this phrase of this recognized Peruvian cook in Peru that is called Reyes Izquierdo. Reyes Izquierdo mentioned that cooking is like life. It's more delicious when we share. This is how we should face our problems, united, like a single table where everyone has a place. And is in this way in which I believe that social projects work. Everyone has a place, has a role in this social project ecosystem in which we have to do our activities to get this social impact achievement that we have to change the world and make it better. Because I'm really sure here in Europe you have some issues, but in Latin America we have some issues very, very complicated that I want to share with you. For example, we have some complications with these floods that we have in Brazil. We have that in Uruguay, also in Ecuador. We have floods a lot, especially in this moment of the year, in the summer. In this moment in South America is summer, and we have these issues. Also the droughts that we have in Uruguay, in Paraguay, we have most of these situations. This forest fires, forest fire that we have there, especially in Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, we have most of these situations, and now we are fighting with this because for the summer, for the high temperatures that we have here in the jungle, we have many fire forests that we have to fight every year. Also the earthquakes also, especially in Chile. In Chile has many earthquakes around all the year. Now is prepared for this, but we have many of these issues in the south of Latin America. But also we have social issues. For example, the corruption. Corruption is something complicated here. Some studies mention that Latin America has the most highest rates of corruption in the world. Also, we have crime, and now in this moment we have international criminal organizations that are working in many parts of Latin America, and it's so complicated. Also, the overpopulation that we have in some places. Some cities are more developed than other cities, and most of the people move to these cities, and we have overpopulation that makes unemployment, makes the, the requirement of food, also water. We have that problems and also diseases that we have in that places. Also the migration, as maybe you can hear, Venezuela and Haiti has a problem of migration. They leave the country and they are moving to many parts of to Latin America, also to USA, also to Europe, also to other places. But in Latin America, it's a very big problem because most of them move to this place but doesn't have documents. Maybe in some cases they move to be burglars. Maybe they move to be people unemployed, people who are asking some money in the streets. And that's a very complicated issue that we are working with some organizations there in Latin America. But as I mentioned, which are the actors that are working on these issues that I mentioned before? We have to meet the actors that we have there. I made this stakeholder matrix that maybe if you study the PMBOK, you would know about that. We have two columns that we have to take in account: the power that is measured by the social impact, also the interest that is the scope that we have with some organizations, for example, in local, national, international scope that we have with some organizations. In the local, we have citizen initiatives, NGOs in process of formation, some schools and universities that are working in local governments, also the private companies that works in a specific city, municipalities, regional governments. But when we started with the national scope, we have more organizations that are working in these issues, like the NGOs with national presence, NGOs branches, because we have NGOs that work international as junior achievement, the Scouts. Maybe you heard about that, but they have branches in some countries. For example, the Boy Scouts works in Ecuador, working in Guatemala, in Peru. They have some branches and are working with all the young people to to share with them all the values, moral values to get a better society in the future. General Achievement, that is an international organization that works especially with the entrepreneurship in the young people, in the kids. We have also the state institutions, the state ministries, also the local presence of international organizations as the UNDP, maybe you heard United Nations Program Development, that works in many parts of the world. But when we talk more bigger, more scope, the international scope, we talk about the international companies that has presence in all the places of the world, also the international NGOs, as I mentioned before, and also international organizations of cooperation, international cooperation, as the OEA that we have here, also the PID, maybe you know it as IDB, the International Development Bank, the USAID we have here, and the COESI, that is another organization to work with many NGOs to work together in different countries. That is the scope that we have there. And finally, the organization with global presence, as you know, as the UNO, the World Bank, up there, the UNICEF, that also is working in many places of the world. But how is working the PMI with these organizations? The PMI is working in this way with many initiatives in the world. For example, now we have Project Managers Without Borders. Maybe if you heard, PMI has joined to the organization, this organization that works especially with NGOs, and now we're starting a strategy to work so closely to these organizations with a framework made specifically for social projects. And we're going to bring some more news, maybe in the last of these years, or maybe the next year. But we're making something great with this alliance that we have there. Also, the Educational Foundation. Maybe you heard about that. Educational Foundation has been working many years ago in some countries with some initiatives, especially with junior achievement, with the Formula Uno, with Formula One, that has an academy. It has a foundation to work with young guys in many countries around the world. And finally, our initiative PMI Hours of Impact, in which we made control of the hours of voluntarism that we made in social projects ideas, and we registered this to help the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, that has the UNO to work around to solve the many issues that we have around the world. And that's the way in which we are working with the PMI. We're working also with local chapters, with the national chapter, because in some countries we have more than one chapter and they're working together to get something important. And finally, the international or regional activities that we have, for example, in PMI Latam, PMI Africa, PMI Europe. We have this way in which we are working with many organizations. We are making something important around the world. And I can give you some examples that what we are doing with this social impact ecosystem. For example, in the north of Italy, we started many years ago with this PMI project management kit for schools that was made by this chapter with Walter Gineri, who was the PMIF liaison many years ago, I believe in the 2008, maybe. And after this idea to work with the schools, it started this kit, and this kit was shared with many chapters around the world, and many chapters are working with the schools with these kits, to get to teach to the students how apply project management in their lives, because I believe this is a discipline very useful to get our goals, to achieve many of our ideas, and that is the way in which PMI has support to the new generations. Zambia chapter is working with some NGOs and also the government to build a Kanyama West Center, who is a hospital there. They are working together with the project PMI tools, the PMI project management tools. That is very important for us, our society. PMI Lebanon, who Lebanon has many issues with the wars that we have in that region of the world, and they are working with many NGOs and also the government to help the society, to help to get something important for people who is suffering these issues there. And they now with project management, they are working in this way. Ernest Seto in Hong Kong with a local chapter, PMI Hong Kong, they are working also with some organizations to help to people to have some mental health disorders, and with the music they are doing these activities. But all this started with a project to started this institution to help the young people who has these kind of issues. We're working in that way. Also in Latam, we are making some ideas. For example, in Rio Grande do Sul, in Brazil, we have some floods, as I mentioned before, and the local chapter in that place started an initiative to recollect some donations and give to all the affected people, because they are suffering. They lost their houses, most lost their business. Most of them has some issues, and now they are working in that way to help these people with these donations. Also, this project was recognized by PMI Latam. They won a prize by this project because this project involved all the chapters from Brazil, and they work together for this initiative. PMI Lima Peru chapter, also north of Peru and also south of Peru, they work with the UNDP because they started an initiative called Innova tu Mercado, or maybe in English is Improve Your Market, because we have local markets, the traditional markets there, and most of them have been disappearing because now we have the supermarket, the hypermarket, and now these rural markets or traditional markets are disappearing. And we were working to get something more new, to innovate with some ideas to improve the markets and more people get involved with these rural markets, because these traditional markets has a lot of culture, has a lot of traditional activities, has make interactions between your community and you. When you live in a community, the local market helps you to make some interactions in there. And that's the way in which the PMI Peru chapters work in that way. Also, we were working with Junior Achievement, as I mentioned. They have an activity called Now Fest. Now Fest is to bring the young people, the kids, also to have entrepreneurship tools as the project management, because the project management is also a tool to make something of entrepreneurship. And they work with Guatemala, with Chile, with Mexico, with Peru, with Uruguay, Argentina. They work with these kind of initiatives or events to work together in that places. And finally, Nuevo Cuyo in Argentina makes some interaction with some universities to bring project management tools to all the university students, and they can get these tools to be more employable in the society. They get their first trainees, their first job in some cases, and the PMI Nuevo Cuyo works a lot of works very closely with some of the universities in La Rioja, which is a place in Argentina, with this kind of projects. And this is the way in which we are working with some organizations in this social impact ecosystem that we have in some places around the world. And now I want to talk about the share value. and how we help the society by our initiatives. The shared value was a term defined by Michael Porter. I'm really sure most of you know about this person who is a company strategy specialist. And he talked about the share value as the purpose of the corporation must be redefined as creating share value, not just profit per se. This will drive the next wave of innovation and productivity growth in the global economy. They believe, he believed the companies, the organizations has to work in a way in which all their activities has to impact in the society, has to impact with all the people that are around there. And we can define it with the three needings that we have in the share value. We have to start with organization needs. Each organization has the needs to grow, to get some revenues in the company when they are selling a service, and we have to take this into account because they need it. It's not something bad. They need it to work and also to working in the society. They needed to do that. Also, we have the society needs. Each society has some needs, as I mentioned before. Maybe climate issues, maybe they have educational issues, society issues, maybe the employment that they need, also some resources that they have to get. But the society has some needs, and it's something common to do to have that. And finally, the client, the individual need. We work with individuals, as each one of us we have some issues. We have some problems that we have to complete. For example, I don't know, we have the requirement, the need of a job. We need also a work. We need also money. We need food to eat because we need it to live. It's important. And as you can see, each of these actors has a need, and each of them has these needings to live, to work, to have a living, and go ahead. The organization, the individual, and also the society. But what happens when we connect these issues, when we connect these needings that we have there? For example, when we combine the organization needs with an individual need, we have the traditional company because an organization sell a service or maybe a good, and an individual buy this service or items to complete something that they have to need. And when we talk about the organizational needs and also the society needs, we talk about the enterprise social responsibility because the organization has to work around the society, and most of them has this enterprise social responsibility department that are working with some foundations, that are working with some donations in the society. And finally, when we connect the society needs with the individual needs, we are talking about social organizations. We have some NGOs that are working in that way, in which some individuals are accomplish their needs because they have the need of food, maybe education, maybe an employee, and some NGOs are working in that way. But when we connect these three needings, we are talking about the shared value because the organization works with the society and also the individual, making this impact in which everyone wins something to get something for their needs, and they get they have a better life with this work. I'm gonna share some steps first, and then an example to explain this better, and how we can apply that share value. At first, we have to define the social need. The social need is educational, health, employment, environmental, crisis, what is happening there. Then that organizational needs, maybe more customers, revenues, market share, a brand recognition, This is the way in which the organization can work along the time. And finally, the business opportunity or individual needing, economy, fashion, goods, process, standards, raw material, factory maybe. And we have to clarify these objectives that we have, these needings, and also define some objectives and indicators for the organization and also the social need to control if we are working in the way in which we are getting something for these needings or we are not accomplish that. We are giving some example. For example, maybe some of them, I'm not really sure it works there in Europe, but we have here a company called Unilever. Unilever works in many parts of Peru, many parts of or Latin America, excuse me, and they are working so closely with the share value because they define the company needings, individual needings, and also the society needings. The company needs be a world-renowned company and generate profits for its shareholders that they have. They need it to work and also continue along the time in their works. The client having a quality food product and a good price and do not harm the environment. That's very important for the customer. And finally, for the society, rely on companies that preserve the environment and companies that generate economic growth for the society. If the society has this kind of companies that are responsible, that's very useful for the society. And Unilever define all the process in the supply chain that they have to work for the client and also to work for the society. For example, when we start with the raw materials, they try to use recycled or biodegradable inputs to work in their factories. Also hiring micro and small businesses to improve the economy in a society. In the factory, they make use of renewable energy and hire staff under fair regimes to uh, to get people that work and receive the best salary for them, and they can afford the expenses and also they can live in a better lifestyle. In the warehouses that they have, they use biodegradable or recycled packaging. Also, the equipment they uses clean energy, and that's very important because it works for the society. It works for the customer in that way. They use electric vehicles and also avoid long journeys. They try to have some hubs in many parts of some of the cities, the principal cities in each country, to get more near to the market, and also they don't travel a lot to distribute their products in the market, providing benefits for small distributors. Also, the distributors must comply with environmental protection policies because some of their providers, or some of the distributors that they have, has to accomplish this. This is very important because they require that the distributors use also renewable energies, try to use electrical cars, try to contract people with a fair salary. It's very important for Unilever to do that because they work, as I mentioned before, for the society. They work for the company, but also for the society and also for the final customer. And finally, for the client, they providing healthy products to customers. They trying to use less unprocessed foods for them because, as you know, a processed food has some issues for the health, but now they are trying to move into that way. They also work in environmental and friendly final products. They try to use the package, as I mentioned, that can be recycled. They can use again in the future, and they have this kind of issues that they can solve for the customer. But the customer receive a good product to complete their needs because they need something of food, maybe they need something for clean, but these items are made with this process that we have mentioned before. And that is the way in which we can apply the share value. We have to think in the social need, the individual need, and also the company need. When we complete all these needings, is the shared value is working in that way. And also we can also mention the PMI. PMI also is working in shared value. Because why is working the PMI on this? Because when we are working in the PMBOK, we are involving some professionals from the community development as a voluntary basis. We're working with the society. We're working with the professional that we have in the society to work in the next PMBOK. I don't know if you heard that we are working in the 8th version of the PMBOK, but we make some invitations to the professionals that are interested in working in this new guide of of projects, project management. And if you are interested, you can work in that. We're trying to involve the society and bring their knowledge to this. The PMBOK developed international standards considering ethical values and also impact in the society. The PMBOK has an important chapter that is called the ethical, because it's very important for us. Promote international standards among the communities and organizations. For that reason, we're trying to work with some organizations, social organizations, but also with the enterprises, and they apply these standards that we have, because we want to have professionals that has the best standards, but also that are ethical, because we need more ethical people in our society, ethical professionals. Also, our chapters, the chapters are seeking to grow on their respective regions and through the project management. They're trying to move these initiatives around the cities in which they are working. Finally, the certification. The certified professionals who are more employable. We're working in that way. With our certifications, we have people that are certificable, that certificate their experience, and they are more employable for the enterprises. And also they are ethical and social responsible professionals that we have there. And finally, when we have all these steps before, we have more successful projects that enable the growth of the society. When we have more projects, we have projects that are success, we generate the growth of our society, the growth of the enterprises, but we have more impact in our communities. And for that reason, I believe the PMI purpose is talk a lot of shared value. We maximize project success to elevate the world. We're working in the way in which we work in a way in which the world become a better place to live. And the project management is a way in which we can make this change. And for that reason, that is the share value that we wanna compromise to all of you to think and also to work in each of your days. Also in your companies, your universities, in each place in which you work, on which you are making some projects, try to believe in the share value. How your impact works for the company, the organization, but also works for the society. That's very important because we need more responsible professionals in all our world. Well, before the conclusions, I wanna continue with our workshop that we will have about the share value. We are going to continue with that before the conclusions. The conclusion we're going to do at the end of the presentation. Okay, I wanna move to our platform. Most of you maybe enter. I don't know, maybe I wasn't pretty sure if someone more asked me some access. I bring access to all the people that has asked by the link. I believe I have here 2 people.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
shared the link in the chat so you can follow the link and you can connect with your Gmail account and then Aurio can give you access. So then we can do the little workshop. It would
I'm
be nice
giving
if
some
you are
access to.
all participating.
Yes. Now, I'm used to enter with the mural. Yes, it's great. Okay, that's good. I bring answers to Sylvia, Cecil, Abhishek. If more people are entering to this meetup. There are 4 people. People.
Don't be
I
shy.
bring
It's
access,
really
and
easy
maybe you
to.
receive an email, and you have to enter by the email to the
It's
to the to
really
the
easy to
platform.
register actually. So you just, if you have a Gmail account, you just need to accept and. I share again the link if you could not see it.
More people are entering. Okay.
So maybe or you can explain and then we can start just after, think, and then people can have the
Yes,
chance to
of course.
register. If you have any difficulty to access, please ask in the chat.
Yes, of course. Okay, maybe okay. We're going to work on this. We have here some examples of organizations, as I mentioned. For example, a retail company, and we have to complete here the business needings and how they are doing in some process. As we mentioned, for example, we are working with some renewable energies, also recyclable inbounds that we can use to the process of manufacturing. But we have to work in each process. For example, in a retail company, we have the process of the goods procurement, in which way we can complete the business needings, the personal needings, and also the social needings. In which way you believe we can work on that in a factory? How the retail company can work in that way, in the warehousing, in the distribution, in the point of sales. In which way we can complete the business needings, the personal needings, and also the social needing to get a better to complete the share value. Maybe we can also I have this other example, the university. For example, the university has some process. For example, the enrollment process for the university. How could be an administrative process with more share value the society, the teaching process, the evaluation for the students, and finally the graduation. How with the graduation process, the university can do something important for the society, but also for the organization and also for the students, which way they are working. Or maybe a district government. A district government has some administrative process, has some activities in security because they are responsible for the security of the city, educational activities, the city maintenance, how they can work in the city maintenance and working for the society, the institution, and also for each citizen that we have there, and the citizen satisfaction, how we can work on that. And I leave here some available because if maybe you believe in your organization that it's so different to this organization that I have there, you can use also these spaces to work in that way. Maybe we can discuss and discuss how your organization can get more can get the share value for the society, how they can complete the business needings, the personal needings, the social needings in your company, in your organization, maybe in your department in which you are working, because in each place we work, we can apply the share value. It's not something about only enterprises. It's works for all of organizations. We can apply the share value. And that's the activity that we have to complete. You can use also the deposits that we have there. Up here, the goods procurement, for example, business needing. We can make double click and we can write something. Maybe the business needing is to go to buy goods. Wait, I have start to for from the from the screen. Buy goods to produce our products. But for the personal needing, we buy uh, products that are what is the name of this? Buy products, buy goods that are not allergic. That because when you buy something, some products for the for the for the for the for the, for the for clothes, some of them are allergic, but they are some processed. Have this problem with some people when you use this kind of products, we have some allergies. But for social needings, we can buy to uh, small businesses and get and they grow. They get more employable. They get more revenues and they become a better. They can grow in the city and they go from the small businesses to a medium business and in the future maybe a big business. But it's to complete this kind of things. How you in each process you can complete all the needings of the share value. You can do that. For example, working here. Warehousing, green energy for the warehouse. This that will be
So,
very important.
so maybe Oreo, how should we proceed? You want to give 1 minute to try to think about one one subject in the retailing, and we try to give ID, and we let the chance of two people who are as well in the chat to give some idea about business, social, and personal needs for a particular domain of the retail.
Yes, of course. Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Someone can bring some ideas, but I can see you're writing the ideas. That's good. That we are using the tools. Okay, we have we're working on retail, we education. If we don't have anyone working all on retail. I'm gonna see if someone does request access. Request access Bird Lopez. Okay.
So should we? So which part should we try to fill, Oreo?
Excuse me?
So so we try to complete retail company altogether now,
Yes,
or you want?
you can choose each of the boxes that we have there. The retail company, the university, the government, in the kind of company organization that you have more experience and you believe we can apply something of the share value.
Okay, good. So maybe we try with retail because, and then we can go forward because, yeah.
Yes, good.
Okay,
We can
so
go.
as well in the chat, if you want to participate, it would be nice. So if you have some idea about retail, about the three needs and the in the five domain of the retail company. So procurement, factory, warehouse, distribution, and sales.
Hmm? Yes. If someone doesn't have access, you can write on the chat and we can help you with that. Because I believe some of the participants are working on the cell phone, maybe. But if they have some ideas, they can share with us. So, there we are. can bring maybe 5 minutes to complete this activity, and maybe we can speak to someone to share their ideas, maybe, right, Florian?
Yes, exactly. That we give. You cannot put a timer in the I think we could. Oh, I say it's 55. So at 7, we look at it. So we try all to give some ideas, and then Aurio, you can go through, and we can discuss as well all together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, of course. Yes, as you mentioned, at 7 p.m., we can make a stop and discuss together with all the people that want to share their ideas. After establish partnership with reliable suppliers. That's good. Sure, ethical sourcing of raw materials. Interesting. Energy saving production machines, saving processes, green energy for the warehouses. Eco buildings don't affect the cities. Zero emission vehicles. Better are due to zero emission vehicles. Reducing cost using alternative zero emission vehicles. And now distribution points. Obtain discounts of Fidelity card. Yes, of course. Reduce waste due to limit of consumptions. Those distribution points will be hot. Rest in 3 minutes. A ensure safety of the warehouse employees. That's very important. Very important. With delivery after on time order. Customer friendly service. Remain 2 minutes. Buildings that not affect the cities. Zero emission vehicles. Use wasted consumption. For commerce, ensuring fair prices for the goods. That's very important. I doesn't believe that that's very common on Europe. In Latin America, we have that issue of the fair commerce. That's and that assure the fair prices for the goods. That's very important. Okay, we complete the time. Maybe someone wanna share their ideas? Maybe as a voluntary. But many ideas are in the process. Maybe can raise their hand. Pick to someone that wanna share their ideas about the share value, in this case of the retailer. Or they're going to take rest. Someone can wanna share? Okay, I'm gonna read some of the ideas of maybe in the goods procurement process. Well, that's my idea. Establish partnerships with reliable suppliers. Okay, that's very important because in order to have this relationship with reliable suppliers that can accomplish with all the process of the organization. Ensure ethical sourcing of the raw materials. Okay, that's good for the society. Secure, stable, and cheap procurement costs. Also very important. Okay, in the personal needings of this process of the goods procurement, the transparency about the products. That's very important because all the all the customers has to know what is the origin of each product that we have. Because we mentioned that we are using products, for example, in cosmetics, that we have a big issue because most of them are using animals to prove their chemicals, the cosmetics. It's important we have this transparency that they can know that they are using this kind of, they don't use the animals for making some proofs. That's very important. Social needing, fair commerce, ensuring fair price for the goods. Social responsibility with respect to the supplier. That's very important. Thanks for this first process.
Maybe, or you can answer one of my questions. So, for example, if you have contradictory needs, for example, you have secure, cheap, and stable procurement, but at the same time, you need to ensure the social responsibility with respect to your supplier. So, how do you deal with that? Is it or so for the time being, for in these two cases, maybe you can accommodate. You say you put a threshold in the what you mean by cheap, but then if you need to lower your cost at the maximum, then it can be really in conflict with some social responsibility aspect.
That's a good question. Well, when we're talking about share value, we're going to work in the way in which we accomplish the needs of the company, the society, and the individual. But as you mentioned, maybe in some cases we can complete, or maybe we complete a needing, maybe in a not enough 100%, maybe in an 80%, maybe in a 50%. We need to try to complete in the best way in which we can accomplish the needs of all the stakeholders that we have, the business, the society, and also the individual. And in some cases, we are going to have these issues that in which we can complete the 100%, but maybe we can choose an option that can be affordable for us, but can complete the social issue in a big percentage, in the most bigger percentage that we can, because but we have to evaluate all the options, and if the only option is that way, we have to work on that, but because it's the only option that we have. But we have to work in a way in which we can complete in 100% for all of the partners. But we are trying to do that. For example, the electrical vehicles are less have less pollution than that's a traditional car. But at the end, they are making also pollution. They are not completely. No, they are not complete. They has not complete 100% of no pollution. But we are completing in a best percentage than the traditional car. But we are working in this way because it's the better option in that cases.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. Okay, we're going to review the factoring, energy saving production machines. That's good. Water saving processes, reduce production cost. That's good because we're trying to do that for the company. Ensure safe workplace for the workforce. That's good. Also, it is very important. Reduce the CO2 emissions during the production. Also very important. Green energy for the warehouses.
But here maybe we can see Aurio that actually some company need are aligned with the social needs, because for example in Europe we have this quota in terms of CO2 emission, so it can be positive for the I would say society, but as well it's somehow positive for the organization, because if they produce less CO2 then they can get money out of it.
Yes, it is that very important because we have this quota that we can define. It is very important to get the less pollution, and also some organizations are also making some rates and also more objectives to reduce more in a way that we can have a good impact for the society. Okay, in warehousing we have green energy of the warehouse. Leverage AI to improve efficiency and optimization. That's good because the AI is working a lot in these last times. Reduce stocks. It's very important too. For the individual, ensure safety of the warehouse employees. Important also. Personalized product recommendations. Important because we can use AI, for example, for that. Eco buildings that not affect the cities. Yes, that's very important. For that reason, we have many certifications as the lead for this. Ensure safe storage of dangerous materials. Yes, that's very important because, as you can know, if we don't save that material in a good way, they can make a big situation or bad situation for the society. Distribution, reducing costs using alternative zero emission vehicles. Okay, that's good because they reduce the cost also for the user. Better RDU to zero emission vehicles. Good. Quick delivery after online order. That's very important too. Zero emission vehicles. That's a good way in which we work too for the society. Finally, the point of sales, enough distribution points. That's very important because we can, with more distribution points, we can be more near to our customers and complete their needs. Finally, obtain discount or fidelity card. That's very important. Close distribution locations. Customer friendly service. Yes, that's good. That's okay. Finally, reduce waste due to limit of consumptions. Okay. And favor kilometer zero. What do you mean? I don't know if someone can explain. I don't know who's the person who's favor kilometer zero. What's the meaning of this? Maybe you can write it. I'm understanding as trying to do not move to to the final cost to the final customer, or
I think, I mean, in Europe, for example, we use that a lot for vegetables and fruits, and we say, oh, it's from the region, it's local fruits, and yeah, it's kilometer zero, we say it.
okay, okay. You're trying to use a local products.
Local,
Okay.
yeah, to buy local products or to
Mm.
favor the or to promote more the local product.
Okay, that's great. That was I mean that I don't have it here in Latin America. I don't remember that. That's good. Great, great. Okay, we have these examples there, and we're working together to get these ideas. And this is the most important. We have to work in each of our organizations, as I mentioned. Maybe it can be an institution, NGO, can be a company, can be an university, a college, but in all the ways we can work to get something important for the society if we believe in the shared value. Don't work only for ourselves, don't work only for our customer. We have to work also for the society. Believe that every activity that we have has to impact to all the stakeholders, and we can get success on this. Okay, we have, I believe I have 8 minutes to finish the presentation, but I'm gonna work with the conclusions for remaining. Okay. Lessons learned from this lesson. At first, conclusion one, we have to consider the social issues we have in all the regions to take action against them, considering all the points of view. Because for that reason, I started with this vision from my region, for Latin America. I'm really sure in Europe, you have some issues different, in Germany specifically. And we have to consider all the issues that we have there. In what way we can work, we can take in account in all our activities to these issues and work against them. Conclusion two, also consider all the actors that are working on the ecosystem and how their impact can affect the society. Because for that reason, it's important to identify the social project ecosystem. Who are the actors that are working in there? Because we can also find some alliance that in which we can work to get a better society in the future. Conclusion three, each organization has a responsibility to have shared value to grow, but also to impact in the society. Each organization has that responsibility, and we are the part of that organizations. We have to work on that. Finally, conclusion four is that PMI is an example that how we can have a better world with its professional community, the standards and the knowledge we share. We are trying to work on this and get a better society. We are trying to work with this purpose that we have, the PMI next, and also we're trying to get a better world, and that's the way in which we are working. I want to finish with the phrase of Simon Sinek, who is an enterprise leadership specialist. He has, I believe, one of the best TED Talks in the platform. And he talked about a culture is strong when people work with each other, for each other. A culture is weak when people work against each other, for themselves. It's important because I believe it's important for the teamwork, but also for the society, for the organization. We have to believe that we're working with others to get a better society, and when we take this in account, we can make it something important. And with this, I want to finish with my presentation with a phrase that we have to hear in PMI: together we can, because together we can work, make a better world. And these are my contacts. If you wanna have a contact with me, I'm LinkedIn. You can contact me. We can add me to this social media. Or maybe if you wanna write me, there is my email to get contact. And thank you to all of you for your attention, also to participate in this dynamic that we have here with Mural. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Aurio. It was really interesting to have such a format and to be able to have a little brainstorming together. Um, Maybe if you have some question, you have still a bit of time to ask them in the chat. In the meantime, as well, I circulate the link to the survey if you want to give us some feedback. As well, feel free to reach out via email to give us feedback. Aurio, maybe while if we have a bit of time to ask you one or two questions. So maybe you did already this exercise with other team potentially in Latin America. Did you find the same concern about environment or safety of the employees, or did you find other matter during those workshops about when you did this exercise?
Well, it's very similar because the climate it's a global issue that we have with the environment that is changing each year by the climate change that we have. Also the issues, the earthquakes, and the droughts that we have. It is very important because we have to think. In this case, in Latin America, we don't have too much electrical cars. We're working in some cases with gas, not with electrical cars. It's so few. Maybe in some countries, for example, in the center, in Costa Rica, I believe in Brazil and Argentina is entering, but in a low way. We need more policies to work with electrical cars, but we're working that way. But another with as the weight, as the water, as the water and energy renewable, and also using more electrical products in our factories. It's very important also for us. But we're in that way. I believe in Europe you have more policies with electrical cars and also more infrastructure because infrastructure is very important to have electrical cars, and we are working in that way in Latin America. But we are trying to change that, and some countries are working better than others, but we are on that way to get that.
And maybe you can tell us as well which solution do you think could be taking over from Latin America in some aspects? Because as you say, maybe we have different perspectives. So maybe you had the opportunity in Latin America to be more innovative on some aspect. Do you think we should take on board some lesson learned from Latin America about some social project unique there that we should maybe replicate in other regions of the world?
Mm, well, in Latin America, we're trying to working together. Maybe in some cases, I'm not really sure if happens there in Europe, but the language is it's a way in which we connect too much in Latin America because we talk Spanish from Mexico to Argentina and Chile. Brazil speaks Portuguese, but for that reason, he's a little disconnected from the other parts of the Spanish language countries. But we have some similarities in the culture. We're trying to use this bridge of the language, and also the virtual bridges that we have in this moment with these webinars, with these virtual conferences that we have, to working together, also get connected, and we have some similarities in the culture. I'm not really sure in Europe you have an issue with the languages, for example, with Germany to France, Spain, but I believe the language is very useful because we have many similarities in Latin America. For example, we have the origin of the pre-Hispanic Hispanic cultures, and we have some similarities in most parts of the of Latin America. And I believe that that's get connected from all us. It's very it's not difficult to get connected with people from all the region of Latin America because the language and also the culture that we have, and we're connected for that way. But I'm not really sure it happens the same in Europe.
So I'm working from my own experience. I'm working in an international organization. So yeah, we use basically English. I mean, it's more kind of globish because I think we have still not a fully proficient level of English. So we are kind of making our own language somehow. So so I think it's quite common in the international organization or European organization to kind of use English, but to adapt it, I would say.
Mhm. That's great.
And
Great.
one point that I liked as well in the presentation, you were mentioning one initiative about traditional market, and I come from France, and as well we have a lot of market, and I think it's really something that is culturally it's really interesting because then you can meet a lot of people, you can meet directly the producer, and then you can as well find very easily local products. So I find really
Mm,
interesting that you had an initiative to protect them in Peru.
that's great. Yes, 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 we started this work with UDP, and that's great. It won a prize in the because the UNDP programs that they have in different countries have prizes when they present the projects, and they won a prize, and in that way they started to work with the PMI to get more projects for these markets.
Hmm.
And it's very important to 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 save it because, as I mentioned, in this part of the world, they are disappearing because we use more the supermarkets and the hypermarkets uh, and the modern market, but not the rural market because it has mm, many many issues. For example, the access, the security, also the technology. Where we are trying with this program to give them tools to become more innovative and rescue them to disappear because it has a lot of culture, as you mentioned in Europe, to try to buy the local markets. Here, where our local markets are these traditional markets, and we are trying to
Hmm.
save it. And it's very useful that project for that reason.
It's really nice to hear actually, and it's nice to have such initiative, and I think we can learn from our different culture. It's really great. I
Great,
cannot see any question, but I can see some greetings from Duncan and Carlos.
thank you.
Um, so we will now quickly conclude the session. Thank you again, Aurio, for your presentation and for the little workshop. I think it was really new way to kind of exchange, and I think it was quite interesting. Thank you very much. Now I will just give you some news about our next event. So on the 26th of February, we will have Arturas Culiezas speaking about risk management. On the 12th of March, we have Maria um, Harvikova speaking about her project in Japan. On the end of March, so Taras Fedoruk will as well give a presentation. And then in April, we have already some event plan. So from Gloria Miller and from um, Rishikesh Depender, sorry for the pronunciation. So both about AI. So it's really a topic which is in the air. So don't miss those events. So they are already available in the event calendars of the website. So please feel free to to register. And then as well, just to give you some, if you want to reach out, if you have any question, you can reach out our local group Darmstadt. As I told you, we are 5 people from 5 different countries: Thomas from Germany, Muhammad from Afghanistan, Maria from North Macedonia, Tufik from Lebanon, and myself, Florian, from France. As I told you, we have a LinkedIn group, so feel free to join us there. We will give you some news. And if you look for volunteering, you can access the Germany chapter website, and there is some proposal for volunteering as well. So thank you very much, everybody. I will now stop sharing. So thank you very much for the session.